The Executive Director of Revenue Mobilization Africa, also member of Ghana Anti-Corruption Coalition. Good evening to you, sir. Thank you very much for joining us on Agenda tonight.
Thanks for having me.
I do have on my right hand Major Moses Doc Nash Kwengu, Deputy Director General Operations at the National Service Authority. Major, good evening to you. Thank you for joining us on Agenda as well.
My pleasure. Thank you.
We do have our video call with us, Mr. James Kluche Aveji, who is the Acting Director General of the Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, and also former Chair of the Public Accounts Committee. Honorable, it's great to have you. Good evening to you. Thank you for joining us.
Good evening, Beatrice. Good evening to the panel members.
We also have with us as well Madam Mary Ada. She's the Executive Director, Transparency International. Ma'am, if you can hear us, good evening to you. Thank you as well for joining us on Agenda once again.
Good evening, Beatrice, and good evening to your viewers and the panelists in studio.
Let me remind you that we're streaming live as well on 3FM 92.7. Do send us your comments and we'll read them back to you. Let me start with you, Mr. Aveji, because you worked as the principal accountant at the Controller and Accountant General's office, I believe, until you entered politics, and you have served both as the chair of the Finance Committee of Parliament and one of the longest serving chair as well of the Public Accounts Committee. If you can help us understand really what it means when we talk about regular audit, how it looks like in terms of the process and structures at any public institution.
Thank you very much, and good evening once again to our viewers and listeners, as well as the members of the panel. Beatrice, thank you very much. First of all, as a country, we are governed by rule of law, and we have enacted laws for ourselves to control and guide our conduct. And one of those laws is the Public Financial Management Act. There were a number of Public Financial Management Acts in the past, but the current one that we are using was passed in 2016. In fact, I was the chair of the Finance Committee when we passed the Public Financial Management Act of 921 of 2016. And then we also have other laws that govern us, like the procurement law, and we also have the internal audit law, internal audit agency law. Then we have the Ghana Audit Service law. All these laws are made to ensure that people who have been entrusted with public funds manage their funds in the interest of the public, so that people do not embezzle the state funds and go scot-free, that when such things happen, people are punished. So when we talk about this public financial management itself, it involves a number of things. But you mentioned about internal audits. Now, internal audit is actually, to me, the way I understand and which I am practicing now at Security and Exchange Commission, is that the internal audit is like the eye of management. Why do I say so? As the head of corporate entity, or as a manager or CEO sitting in your office, when requests come from your various departments to you for approval, you need somebody to do the background check and see if right things are being done. If the financial laws are being complied with, if all the regulation, procurement, whatever system is put in place are being complied with, that person is the internal auditor. But what I have realized, or what I've noticed as the chair of the Public Accounts Committee in the past, is that most heads of entities, most CEOs, do not want to use the services of the internal auditors. So that is one of the reasons why we're having these challenges of infractions here and there. Because if the internal audit unit is working effectively, if heads of entities are using the service of the internal auditors, they will be able to ensure that things are done in compliance with the law. So if you don't use the internal auditor, you do the wrong thing. And when the external auditors, which is the audit service, which is governed by Article 187 of the Constitution, which establishes the office of the Auditor General, and asks the Auditor General to audit all public accounts of Ghana and report to Parliament. If you don't use the service of the internal auditor, you end up doing the wrong thing, and the external auditors will come and unearth those wrong things and report them in the report that they submit to Parliament. So the use of the internal audit units by the heads of entities is very critical. Where I am now as the Director General of Security and Exchange Commission, there is nothing that comes to my table which involves spending state money, which I will not refer to the internal auditor to check for me if the right thing is being done, if it is in compliance with the law, whether it's a procurement or not. So I encourage all heads of entities, ministers, chief directors, to use the service of the internal auditors in a way will reduce the compliance infractions that we see all the time, every year. So,
Ms. Aveji, I want to get you clearly. You're saying that, I mean, if you look at the Internal Audit Agency Act 2003, Act 658, it spells out clearly that we must have an internal audit unit. Are you claiming by your submission that a lot of public institutions have conveniently decided not to use the unit? And that has been allowed to go on because we have chief directors, which are supposed to be, as it were, the heads of these ministries and institutions. Why have we allowed that to happen, if I got you correctly? That they are bypassing the internal audit unit?
That is what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That they will have the internal audit unit all right, but they will not use the service of the internal auditor all the time. I'm not saying they don't use it completely. They use, but not all the time. And in certain cases, when the internal auditor even advise against certain payments, they ignore the services of the internal auditor, the advice of the internal auditor, and they'll go ahead and do it. One other thing that we have noticed is that the internal audit agency, the internal auditors in the various entities are employees of those entities. So when you go to district assemblies, the internal auditors there do not, when they advise the chief executives or the coordinating directors, because they are employed by these people, there's a fear of job security. Now, if you report and they said, I don't want you again, I'm releasing you of your duty, go home. Because of that, some internal auditors are also of the view, sometimes they see the right thing, that this is wrong. But if you report and at the end, let me use the term, you are sacked, how do you get a delivery? So there's a bit of challenge there. So again, the internal audit agency law need to be amended to make the internal audit unit just like the external audits who employ the audit service, who employ people and then ask them to go and do the audit. And if this were employed by the internal audit agency and pay them, and they go and report, that fear of job security will not be there, and they can report on all things that they see. And if they
okay, it looks like we are having a challenge with a connection to Mr. Aveji. I'll come to studio very quickly, but let me ask you this. Hopefully the line is better before I come to the panel. Ms. Aveji. Okay, Ms. Aveji, if you could kindly reconnect for us before I come to you. Of course, I'll get to the preliminary thoughts of the panel as well. But let me actually bring you an idea of this, what I'm talking about, the infractions as we've seen in the Auditor General's report, as well as even the recent revelations from the Attorney General, which are currently ongoing. So in terms of infractions or what's have been reported by the Auditor General, in 2021 alone, the country lost over 17 million Ghana cedis, almost 17.5 billion Ghana cedis because of irregularities and all of that. Now you go to 2022 and it was 15 billion, so it dropped a little bit. 2023 dropped again to 8 billion, almost 9 billion actually, 8.799. And then in 2024, an election year where we've had the current Attorney General also making a lot of revelations, it shot up from the 17 billion figure in 2021 to 18.415. That's almost 18.5 billion Ghana cedis. These are monies that the state lost, revealed in the Auditor General's report. Now, Attorney General, I did tell you that Attorney General has also been making some revelations since February this year. And the one he described as the jungle, I mean, he used his expression there, that has to do with the buffer stock scandal involving the former CEO Hanan Abdul Wahab, his wife, and 2 other institutions, some 95.763 million Ghana cedis, billion Ghana cedis lost to the state. Also, National Service Authority, ghost names, payroll fraud, 2.2 billion Ghana cedis, and also Office of the Special Prosecutor revealing some wrongful salary payment, identified some 2.854 billion Ghana cedis lost to the state. And also, these are related to identified, projected, some projects as well. Yes, so projected losses. And then you have the National Petroleum Authority extortion and money laundering case, currently ongoing as well. 280 million Ghana cedis alleged to have been lost to the states through some alleged scheme, and with some 24 million Ghana cedis allegedly directed to the former CEO. So that's just a tip of the iceberg, really, as regards what the country has lost so far. And like I did tell you, it's been going on for years. I want to come to you, Mr. Kabuto Kanse, before I go back to Mr. Cletus James Aveji. You heard, of course, the bit of what he said before his line went off there. And the details I have just revealed in both the Auditor General's report as well as what the Attorney General has revealed to us. Beyond what Mr. Aveji told us, that institutions intentionally decide to go without the internal audit unit, where do you see the problem coming from?
I think let me first of all greet your viewers and then greet my fellow panelists, both in studio and virtually. I would want to be concerned about institutions not adhering to cautions from their internal auditors, but I don't go with it. Let's stop joking. With all due respect, let's get serious. You see, these things are ongoing because we are not angry enough. We're not angry enough. With all due respect to the Public Accounts Committee, what have we seen them do? Over the years, people go there, they answer questions. Some out of anger from this week, what I've seen, some laugh. When they are asked serious questions about millions of Ghana cedis, they laugh. What are you laughing about? At a point in this country, we lost 13 people because we could not fix dialysis machine. What wrong did they do? And then you come and sit down and look at the figures you are mentioning. We go to IMF and borrow how much? 3 billion. And did you see the back and forth? The team will come here, they'll go back, we'll meet with them, propose ways that we are going to raise revenue, and look at the amount you are mentioning in just a year. So if you accumulated from that 17 billion you mentioned early on, plus this 18 billion, if you did about just a multiple of 3, you are arriving about close to about $5 billion, okay? And you went to IMF to go and beg for money. When you were throwing, let me quickly go to a fact that we all should know. These are the figures that they brought to us. And in every institution, nothing can be sacrosanct. This is the Ghana.
So you mean there could be more beyond what has been reported? This is the Ghana that people could not go to work because their wife was sick. This is the Ghana that people didn't have cars to go there, to go to the hard-to-reach areas. This is the same Ghana that people are familiar with others. It is a cartel game. When one is arrested, you get to see that the secretary was in there, the others, you see? So this is that Ghana we are talking about. So this figure you are seeing is the ones that we are lucky to have.
And this is how bad the figures are. In just 1 year, you sit down and you have lost 8.4 billion Ghana cedis. And you see, let me break it down well so that we can all think about it this evening. This means that 8.4 billion means that when you take the cost of one school building, that is 1.6 or something for a 6-classroom block. So
million or billion?
A million. So I'm saying divide this figure by 1.6, or let me just be kind, make it 2 million cedis for a 6-classroom block. So it means in just a year, we could have built all the basic schools we needed in this country. In just 1 year, if we were angry enough and we were very serious with this country. Look, Kwame Nkrumah said many years ago, this country is not a poor country. And I added my voice to say, this country is not a poor country. We are only but a poorly managed country. And these are the figures you are seeing. These are the figures. In just 1 year, my sister, 12 months, you have lost 18.4 billion. And the funny thing is that it is somebody's job to sit down and head count. Oh, we have 8 workers. We have 10 workers. They are at post. And somebody sits down, and then at the end of the day, you talk about ghost names. That is where I get angry. Meanwhile, at the face of this, another person is going to the Controller General's department from a region, maybe from the north, come to validate. The one who is alive has to come and validate. The one who is dead is still being paid. And at the Public Accounts Committee, somebody died and was still being paid. And I'm asking, in fact, one of the panel members asked whether the staff attended the funeral of the person. And after that, my next question is that, did they pay any emolument to the family? So how is that document still there? You have paid emolument to the family, and then again, you still keep paying the person for months.
So you certainly do not buy the submission from Mr. Veji that
you know what?
They have decided not to use internal audit service. Who then should be doing the calculations and balancing the books?
Some of the technologies we are using. What did you say? Irregularities? When the boy steals a phone at circle, he's a thief. When these people steal, we call them what? Financial irregularities, misapplication, misappropriation. These are thieves. They stole from the state. Figures show. Somebody sat down, deliberately robbed the state. And then we start, because we are in suits and we attended Legon and UCC, then we start polishing. We start polishing. It's misappropriation, misapplication. What? It is thievery. So when we get angry and start pointing to who, look, you see, it doesn't even end with them. Now, today, let me share it to all of us. Those of us who are even also watching on. You see, if, God forbid, I slapped you, and he stood here and watched me slap you, he's also supporting the act by watching on for me to take that act. The auditors, the internal auditors, they must be surcharged. In this whole discussion, if 3 or 4 of them were surcharged, we should have gotten somewhere.
So that's honestly, what you mean by we are not angry enough?
We are not angry enough. The system you hear at the Public Accounts Committee, go and ask them, in the last 5 years, how many of the amounts that were stolen from us have been recouped? Let
me come to you, Major. You are the NSS, and I just mentioned the figures there related to the National Service Authority. Giftio Owari-Mensah, for instance, Deputy Executive Director, has already been charged, alleged to have stolen some 38 million Ghana cedis, and her director as well. If you can tell us, really, beyond what the Attorney General told us in the press conferences, what kind of structures were in place that enabled these alleged creation of ghost names, and the eventual monies that were siphoned?
Thank you very much for the opportunity. The system that was in place, I wouldn't be able, but it means that system failed us. Because if the system did not fail us, how did we get ghost names into the system that people were able to siphon millions of cedis, which is of the taxpayers' money? So it means that basically or fundamentally, the system failed us. In this situation, like you mentioned earlier, the Attorney General is handling this matter, and for that matter, we have also put in place certain structures to make sure that this kind of thing do not happen again.
Okay, you just said that you were not there when it happened, but looking at the data that has been given you, could it have been avoided?
Possibly. It could also be intentional. Because it baffles my mind that you have a system that you know only 100,000 registered, or this a list, all the lists across the country, maybe 100,000 was uploaded, and then you are validating and it is over 100,000. What are you supposed to do?
You're
you are
saying
supposed
that
to flag it.
It could have been intentional. So you're
It
saying
could
that
have been
people intentionally stole
Of
money. That's what
course.
you are directly saying.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Because, like I said, if you have 100,000 lists that has been uploaded into the system, now you have validated over 100,000 and you are paying. What are you paying for? The difference between maybe 120 and 100,000. Why are you paying the difference of the 20,000? It means that you know something about it. Otherwise, you won't be paying for it.
Now, you're saying that the National Service Authority is currently putting in structures.
Yes.
If you can tell us what you're doing, because sometimes what we hear people say is, oh, this administration did that, that administration did that. And then there is this painting black, as it were, of previous administrations, and we don't seem to get the results that we need, which is why we're where we are. If you can tell us what you're doing, which you believe will prevent another creation of ghost names, so that in the next few years, we don't come back talking about the same problem.
Very well, thank you. You realize that after the audit, the president instructed, it was deliberate and intentional, that that system should be shut and a new system generated. It means that that system that was previously used did not do any good to us. This current system, there are a lot of checks that we have put in place to ensure that ghost names are not uploaded. In fact, we released the first batch of the postings last week. You can monitor social media and even visit some of the centers. It is very difficult for you to pass or to upload ghost names into this system because, first of all, you must use your Ghana card, which has to be validated. You have to, if you have a data mismatch, and that was, I think that was an avenue that people were using to upload ghost names. That you have people who were 100 years, 5 years doing national service. And you can bear with me that with this current system, the Ghana card, once you upload it and then there's a data mismatch between your Ghana card and that of your date of birth on your certificate, it will be flagged. You will not have the opportunity to proceed to the next step. This is one of the fundamental things that we have put in place. You can ask any of the personnel. It will be difficult for you to progress beyond the first step if you have data mismatch.
How sure are you that this system will be followed through? Because again, we heard Mr. Aveji say that people will intentionally pass the internal audit. So there could still be ways of people skipping the process just to be able to create what they want.
In this system, it is not only one person who validates it. Currently, there are a lot of checks. If you are able to elude me, maybe the DG, the Director General, you will not be able to elude her. So once I verify on the system that it is 100 people who have registered, she will also cross-check to validate it. If I process something that is beyond 100,000 or maybe 110,000 to her, and she also goes through and trying to validate, and it is about 140,000, it will definitely be flagged. You cannot cross.
You cannot cross. Let me get the preliminary thought as well of Madam Mary Adu, Executive Director, Transparency International. Ma'am, I know a lot has been said. What is going through your mind regarding what's been said and why we're where we are? Hello? Madam Mary Adu, can you hear us? Okay, looks like
I'm trying to get my Zoom camera on, but
we can hear you, yes. Please, so please proceed with your thoughts.
Great. So good evening to all of you and to the panelists as well. And I believe that they have said it all. They've said it all. Our problem is the fact that our external audits have become firefighting mechanisms instead of putting in place very good mechanisms to ensure that whatever happens after the audit is done is validated. Again, we see a situation where the external audit is just a little percentage of what is supposed to be audited.
Hello, Madam
so not more
Meriada.
than 10%.
I'm sorry, Madam Meriada. We are getting feedback. I don't know whether your set is on. If you'd kindly lower that, so when we come back, we can hear you clearly without the echo that we're hearing currently. But you're still here on Agenda on TV3. My name is Beatrice Adu. When we come back, of course, we'll look into really the role of, for instance, the Public Accounts Committee and why people feel that that is really not serving the purpose it's supposed to serve, and what is the way forward, even regarding the recent meeting the President had with the Attorney General, Auditor General, as well as the Chief of Staff. Just stay with us.
When you are going to buy a paint, don't look left, don't look right. Go straight and grab the luxury and luxury paint. No be any paint, be paint.
The luxury acrylic paint.
Paint mo champion. When you are going to buy a paint, don't look left, don't look right. Go straight and grab the luxury and luxury paint. No be any paint, be paint.
The luxury acrylic paint.
Paint mo champion.
When the sun rises, there is hope. While this hope lingers on, the citizens look up to the government, the economy, the national development agenda, and everything in between.
On Ghana Tonight, it's our utmost priority to bring you insightful conversations on the economy, break down the biggest issues while setting the agenda for transformation and national development. The big and important stories are treated from the human interest angle, while the facts and the figures are painted with precision. So now, let's cut the convention and start the conversation here on Ghana Tonight. I am your host, Alfred Okamse.
Ghana Tonight shows Monday to Friday at 10 p.m. on TV3. Brought to you by
Flamingo Paint. Superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage, simply superior.
Kel Charcoal Toothpaste.
When you are going to buy a paint, don't look left, don't look right. Go straight and grab the luxury and luxury paint. No be any paint, be paint.
The luxury acrylic paint.
Paint mo champion.
And you're still here on Agenda on TV3. We're talking audits and whether or not individuals and institutions set up to ensure that we protect the public purse are actually the ones helping to drain the country of its resources. Let's go back to Madam Meriada to finish with a thought before we continue with the conversation. Ma'am, the line broke there. If you can finish with your thoughts, and then we'll continue with the rest of the panel.
Yes, Beatrice, I just wanted to add on to what has already been stated, that our audit system is such that it's not perfect. It depends on the type of audit being conducted. If it is the normal ones that are done every year, you realize that it's on a certain scale and a very small proportion that is being captured. And so the actual situation could be disastrous. As Jeffrey mentioned earlier, there have been instances where you hear some issues with even the audit and how it is done, which could be very disturbing. Again, we have seen auditors being cited for behaviors that are unprofessional because they go to the field and a lot of things happen. We are also in this country where we see a lot of different instances where some of these things go unpardoned, every day unpunished, sorry. And one of the greatest this service to the fight against corruption is...
Hello, Madam Ada. We'll have to get back to her, but I'm coming to you, Mr. Kluchaveji. You made a point earlier that...
sanction or punishment thereof is not much. And
we certainly have to correct that line to Mariada so we can hear here clearly. But I was coming back to you, Mr. Kluchaveji. You made a point that people fear of being sacked, and so it's a reason they don't like to go for it. Is that not just an excuse, really, to protect individuals who have made up their minds to steal from the state? Because the other side of the argument is also true, that if you know you're going to be dealt with, you won't even dare try it.
I think that I said that and even preferred the solution. I'm saying that if the internal audit staff are fully employee of the internal audit agency, just like the way the audit service employ its own staff, these internal auditors will not have this fear that if I insist on certain things, my employer, in this case, the district assemblies, will take an action against me. That will solve the problem, because people know the unemployment situation of our country, and for that matter, they want to keep their jobs. So that is just one of the issues. And that is why most of the CEOs, the heads of entities, don't actually even value the work of the internal audit. But if they are employees of the internal audit agency who are posted there, where they know that if they report anything, the officer, whoever is there cannot sack them, or even they are sacked, cannot be sacked, can only be transferred. They will still continue to have their daily bread. That problem will be solved. That is what I said.
Mr. Kluchaveji, I haven't made that point. And if you could adjust your camera just a little bit for us so we can have enough headroom for you. Excellent. Thank you very much. There are people who are arguing that the Public Accounts Committee is actually supposed to be scrapped because they don't really see what you're doing to ensure that people are held accountable. They come there, you ask them questions, and then you say, okay, don't do that again, next. It's like, I mean, you're not really helping.
Okay, I think I have an opposing view that the Audit Accounts Committee should be scrapped. The Public Accounts Committee, in fact, you are referring to the Public Accounts Committee.
Yes, Parliament's Public Accounts Committee.
Yeah, in Parliament, it should not be scrapped. The reason is that in the first instance, we don't have been here discussing this, if not for the work of the Public Accounts Committee. All this will not be made public. There have been things that are going under the waters. Nobody will hear of them, and you wouldn't know what is happening. But
the Auditor General publishes them.
No, for the work of the Public Accounts Committee, we now know as a country that this is what is going on. And we're having a conversation, and we're trying to find solution to it. Now, the Public Accounts Committee of Parliament has the mandate to review the report of the Auditor General and report back to the plenary and make a recommendation. This recommendation made by the committee will be debated by the entire House, and the decision is taken. If the report is adopted, it must be implemented. And this is what the problem is, because the report will have to go back to the executive, who has been audited by the Auditor General, of which report the Public Accounts Committee has worked on, for which Parliament has adopted a report. This must go back to them for implementation. Now, during my time, I have started recommending people for prosecution. In the past, it was never done. I recommended a number of people for prosecution. The then Attorney General did not take action on it. So the Public Accounts Committee work will only be relevant if the reports that comes out of the sittings of the Public Accounts Committee are taken serious and are implemented. If not, then the work of the Public Accounts Committee only be limited to letting the public know what is going on in the administration of our finances. Because when the Attorney General, who is to prosecute the people, did not take action, what next? What next? That is what the problem is. We have to look at that. Because
what could you have done about it to ensure that the AG took your recommendations seriously when you were then the chair of the Public Account Committee?
It doesn't lie within the chair of the committee or even the committee to force the AG to do anything about it. That the work of the committee says that prepare your report and submit it to Parliament. The work of the committee ends there. Once the report is adopted, it ends there. I have done the work, reviewed the reports, I issued my recommendation, I submitted my report to the plenary, debated, adopted. The work of the committee ends there. It is a duty of the agencies that are to take action on the recommendation to do that. That is what not being done. Now, what I would recommend is that unless we have a non-partisan body, and that it should be a committee or whatever, that will do a follow-up to ensure that the recommendations of the committee, which is adopted by the House, are implemented. If it should be implemented by the Attorney General, it should be implemented. If the Attorney General is not implementing it, that committee or that body should be clothed with some powers against the Attorney General or whichever body is to implement the report. If we don't do that, it will not happen. Why am I saying this? Why am I saying this? If the government of the day, like in the previous government, refused to take action because maybe thinking that if we take action, I am punishing my own people, or I'm exposing the rot in my government, so I'll not take any action and prosecute anybody. Meanwhile, you are the only person who has the prosecutorial powers. You don't do that. Nothing happens. Nothing happens until we wait until another government comes and start to prosecute the people. We'll not see any improvement. So I would recommend that a separate entity, non-partisan entity, is given such powers to prosecute the people or to ensure that the recommendations of the committee adopted by the House is implemented. And if any agency refuses to implement it, that body must have the powers to punish that agency.
And I'll come back to you very briefly, but Mr. Okanse, I realized that you wanted to respond to him.
Respectfully, I disagree with my senior colleague. We don't need any other committee again. Please, our anti-corruption fighting agency force is overloaded. We are overchoked. We have Office of Special Prosecutor. I'm yet to see somebody arrested and our money is recouped from there. We have Attorney General, we have Public Accounts Committee. Who else to come on board? Please, respectfully, Ghana, please. Fact is, we are just not ready to fight corruption. Can't we see it? Go to other countries. Go to the Philippines. People can see, look, in 2018 alone, gold that left Ghana to UAE. In the books of UAE, it was $7 billion. In the books of Ghana, gold that left Ghana to UAE was $2 billion. So people were comfortable to steal their way through here, but when they got there, they know that if they don't declare, they'll lose their heads. So they declared there. That is what I'm telling you this evening. Respectfully, Honorable Aveji, please, this evening, let's look at God and stop this running around.
Please, Beatrice, can I come in?
Factually.
If he can make his point, I'll give you the opportunity to come in briefly.
By the systems, Public Account Committee, I mean, like my sister rightly said, Auditor General's books already revealed how much has been stolen. We know who stole it. You do your work. I was one of the people who, at a point, thought, look, we didn't even need the Public Account Committee again because Attorney General was there and the OSP was there, so they should go ahead and prosecute people. But like you have rightly said, you also think that it should still be there. That's okay. But to create another body, respectfully, please, we are tired.
If you can come in briefly, Mr. Aveji, before I come back to Major. Very briefly, please.
Yes. Yeah, my point is that, my brother, my point is that we have these bodies who are not taking action And I gave you the reason why they're not taking action. That the government of the day, for which report had been worked on, and this recommendation come, the government of the day thinks that by prosecuting the people is exposing the rots in their government. They don't want to do it. What action do we take against those people? For now, we do not have, because it's a partisan, because the report go back to the same person who committed the crime, and the person refused to take action. What do we do? You see, Parliament has not got prosecutorial powers. And I will not advocate for that. We have separation of powers. The three arms of government, they have their role to play. Parliament has played its role by working on the report of the Auditor General and giving a recommendation.
But again, you would say that people will say Parliament has failed because you have committees that are supposed to be probing contracts, supposed to be ensuring that the right things are done. You're overseeing the executive because there's... Ms. Abeji?
No, Beatrice, that is not true. That is not true.
So
Parliament approves budgets. Parliament approves loans. This goes to the executive. The executive implements it. By the time the report comes back in the form of the Auditor General report, the crime has been committed.
So where then is your checks and balances? Where do you place, at which point do you have your checks and balances, sir?
Our checks and balances is at the point where we are approving the budgets, that we are giving you X amount of money. Our second check is that when the report comes to us, we'll look at it and make a recommendation.
Ms. Abeji, now you've got muted. If you could kindly unmute yourself, and I'll come back to you. Major, you wanted to make some points before I go back to Mr. Abeji. Whilst he tries to correct the sound that we can't hear you.
Okay, thank you very much, Beatrice. So like I said earlier, we all agree that there's no 100% system or complete system, but we have put in measures. You cannot have a system that has failed you and you want to continue using the same system. It means we are doing the same thing and we expect different results, which is wrong.
Mr. Okase, you had some questions because you seem to question...
I can understand when he says that you cannot continue doing the same things and expect different results. But with the system failure, I didn't see, I don't want to stay at the system failure again. Senior, with all due respect, we have gone past the system failure matter. Because the truth is that we are at a stage where when the system fails us, who caused the system to fail must be detected and punished. Because you see, when you fix the machine that everybody should thumbprint before they go into the office, there is somebody who knows what to do. And then everybody else who didn't come to work that day, they will find their way of getting their thumb printed early on, fixed into the system. So people work around systems. And that is what we saw. That's how come you saw ghost names.
Yes.
Because the truth is that the system, at the time they fixed it, I'm sure if she goes back to old videos, when that system was fixed, we had this language of the best system that had been fixed. In fact, once upon a time, we saw a very good system at an airport. That didn't work. So all the systems, we've seen all the systems. Where we are right now, we are at the state of punishing people, recouping the monies, and ensuring that people are sacked. You see, like Honorable Aveji said, people are caught. When they are caught, then they are transferred. Do you know what you are doing? You are motivating offenders.
You're motivating offenders. I'll come back for you to respond to this.
You are not allowing me to make my point.
Yes, please. Like when we come back, I'll let you conclude on your thoughts. Okay. Do stay with us. We are as a country. Major, I wanted you to conclude on your thoughts and we'll get the final words of each panel member.
Okay, thank you very much, Beatrice. You see, like my colleague said, if the system that he talked about, if we hadn't done due diligence, would we have detected that there are ghost names in the system? No. So it means that some work was done. And now, that's what I'm saying, that you don't keep doing the same things and you expect different results. We cannot keep the same system working for National Service Authority and you expect that ghost names wouldn't be there. We have challenged ourselves based on the instructions of the President, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, that we are not going to be bedeviled with the previous situation. And for that matter, we have acquired a system which is robust. And we are making sure that ghost names is going to be a thing of the past. The bottom line is that if audit wasn't conducted, the people that my colleague is saying that are being prosecuted, the prosecution is the duty of the Attorney General and not National Service Authority. So if infractions are recorded, it is by due procedure for the Attorney General to take it up and prosecute those who are culpable. And we will not count, we don't have any role to play on that matter.
Let me get the final word of Mr. Veji, and I'll get that of Madam Mary Adu as well as Mr. Okanse. Mr. Veji, I hope you're still on the line with us. Just wanted to get your thoughts. Okay, Mr. Veji, we've lost him on the line. But Madam Mary Adu, let me get your final thoughts.
So thank you very much, Beatrice. I believe that we all are in agreement that there are lapses in the system. And we also agree that because there is a lack of sanctions and a lack of accountability in the system, people decide to take all of us for a ride and do what they want. One of the things I would like to conclude with is the fact that when you look at the Auditor General, the Supreme Court gave them orders on how to proceed with surcharge and disallowance regimes. And most of these that we are talking about should lead to recoveries. What is the Auditor General's office doing when it comes to these surcharge and disallowance regimes? I believe that we need to begin the advocacy on this to see how that is dealt with. Again, with the PAC, where I believe more accountability should be exacted, I continuously get disappointed because over and over again, the arguments that have been made are not tenable. Whether it is post-regime accountability or within regime accountability, for me, I think it's not a discussion whatsoever. What about what we are hearing now? We see a new government in place and we are hearing such dirty stories being told us. Are we saying we shouldn't pursue them because a regime is dealing with its own? Just like we've been talking about the Attorney General also being the Minister of Justice and it's making it difficult for him to deal with his own. That cannot be tenable for us. We need to chart a new path. And the new path is that let's sanction people who intentionally create schemes to loot and then to share, which has been evident per some of the allegations the Attorney General is bringing out, and per some of the audit findings that have continuously come up. We have done studies on this, and we continue to share them. We've done Show Me the Money over the years, and I can chronicle more than what you used in your introduction. So what we need now is to have sanctions, and we need to get people punished to dissuade others from wanting to do things.
So you obviously agree with the President and his recent meeting with the Chief Justice, Attorney General and Auditor General to have special courts to deal with such cases?
To a very large extent, even though I have issues with separation of powers when it comes to the judiciary, for now, the issues around how these cases take a very long time to resolve also need to be discussed. And for me, on that score, I believe that it was a very good meeting to have organized to deal with the administrative issues that are around the fight against corruption when it comes to the executive and the judiciary.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kabute Okanse.
Yeah, quickly, let me let Ghana know something this evening. This evening, or yesterday, or tomorrow morning, a woman will die trying to give life to another child. As we speak this evening, a person is going to sleep this evening without food in their bellies. As we speak this evening, somebody will die because medical facilities are not there. You remember the case of the doctor who actually was said to be at the accident unit of Kolebu, saving lives every day. When it was his turn for Ghana to save him, the facility was not present at Kolebu. He had to be rushed to UGMC. He died on the way. That is what we did to him. After these ones have stolen the money, that's what we did to that doctor that saved many lives. As we speak today, people will hold certificates tomorrow morning and the days that follow, but they won't get jobs. People who had so much hope in this Ghana we serve, their fathers labored and they decided to go to school, but they will not get jobs. As we speak today, children will be risking crossing rivers to access schools. And on that journey, some of them drop in waters and die painfully, painful death, because somebody has stolen the money that could have bought that boat to cross them over. If we want to finish it, let's finish these ones before they finish us. All these people will be finished if we don't finish these people who are stealing us. So what do we have to do? Finally, the moment
if we could wrap up in 30 seconds,
just these steps. Let's surcharge. Those internal auditors, when we find all these things, surcharge. We are not saying you were the one who took the money, but we're looking on and not reporting it, you'll be surcharged. The next thing is to make sure we recoup. I'm not interested in jailing people. I have to jail him to Insawam and go and feed him. No. The day you are arrested, the chalote you are wearing, your phone, your house, recoup all those things. That's what we did. We don't need the jailing. What will I get from it? Finally, sack them. The sacking should be the issue. Don't move the person from Accra to Tongo. Why? The Tongo, the angels there.
Let me get your final thought.
Apparently, he has mentioned my hometown.
Okay.
And is he?
I don't think he knew it was your hometown.
Yes, Tongo is my hometown.
Right. Okay.
But you know, people do that. They said,
of
let's
course,
move the person to...
Yes, your final word, please. Our time is up, actually.
My final words are that, you know, national service has positioned itself now for the public. We know the face of national service is not good. We are changing the narrative. And if you, from now going up to the end of the year or the end of this national service personnel deployment, you appreciate what we are doing. At the moment, you may not do that, but myself and the DG and my other colleagues, the team, what we are doing, at the end of this national service, you will see what is going on. Look, we have over 14, we have farms across the 14 regions of this country. We have, since we took over management of national service.
If you could wrap up in 30 seconds, sir.
We have been able to scale bird production at Papao Farms, which is just at Hato.
So you're assuring that everything has been done.
And then let me come back to the deployment. The deployment, I want to assure young Ghanaians who are going to national service that, look, the process is seamless at the moment. They can attest to the fact that it's seamless.
Thank you.
Eventually.
Thank you very much. I'm sorry, our time is...
a hall of shame. We need to build a hall of shame.
That's fine. But thank you very much. Thank you very much, Major Moses Doc Nash, Kwengu, Deputy Director General Operations at the National Service Authority. Thank you so much for joining us. Also to Mr. James Kluche Aveji, Acting Director General of the Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, and former Chair of the Public Account Committee, as well as to you, Madam Mary Ada, Executive Director, Transparency International, and also to you as well, Mr. Jeffrey Kabutio-Kansi, Executive Director, Revenue Mobilization Africa, and member of the Anti-Corruption Coalition. My name is Beatrice Adu. Thank you so much for joining us on Agenda tonight. Join us again next week. Have a good evening.